So I participated in the Housing Advocacy and Litigation Clinic.
So I'm currently in the Youth Justice Clinic,
Immigration and Human Rights Clinic,
General Practice Clinic,
Criminal Defense and Racial Justice Clinic.
Most of the clinics at UDC Law are giving support to the community, to people whose rights have been violated here at home, to legislative initiatives at the City Council. This clinic applies the same sort of advocacy skills on the bigger picture, because whistleblowers are generally challenging abuses of power that could have a national impact, that could cause tragedies for the whole country.
This is essentially an opportunity for you to get exposure to an area of law that you wouldn't have otherwise have gotten. It's extremely niche, it's extremely unique, so whenever you go out into the professional world, if you can even show that you have an idea of this area of law, it's a fascinating and unique factor that you can bring to the table that other constituents may not be able to provide.
On our very first day, we were thrown into a hearing in court, and it was a great way to jump in and get started and understand what it was going to be like in the court. You are a student attorney, so you have the responsibility of being someone's advocate. And so this is the first time that you get outside of the classroom and into real life, real world experiences, dealing with real people and their real issues.
I never would have thought as a 3L in law school that I would be holding a board meeting for a cooperative, for a nonprofit. I know that I've had experience in different volunteer aspects, but to be the one physically holding the board meeting has been something that I think is a learning experience as a lawyer moving into my field. It's something that you can't replace, that actual hands-on experience of physically doing the work and not being handheld the whole time.
So the General Practice Clinic, I co-direct with Professor Tiana Gibbs. And this semester and over the lifespan of the clinic since I've been at UDC, we represent family law litigants, primarily survivors of domestic and intimate partner violence in family law cases. So we try to bring a client-centered and survivor-centered approach to the representation of our clients, so students are both learning essential litigation skills and how to litigate their clients' cases, but also how to support their clients' goals, whether they be legal or non-legal.
The General Practice Clinic is going to uniquely set me up for jobs in a way that most law schools don't have because I'm actually litigating. So I have my limited license, I'm appearing before a judge, I'm going to trial, and that's something that 90% of law students can't say.
So some of the highlights for me were working very closely with our professor throughout the whole clinic, where we did a lot of training on learning how to do opening statements, closing statements, cross-examination of witnesses, taking statements from witnesses, and actually representing clients in court. We're actually standing up in court before the judge. We are going against assistant United States attorneys in court, and you just learn how to practice.
We want them to experience clinic as a bridge to practice, from going from being a student or an intern to being a full-fledged attorney practicing and representing clients out there in the real world.
They also walk away with an appreciation for how many soft skills they come into our clinic with and how those are really critical for any type of lawyering job, including, learning how to take care of yourself, recognizing what trauma looks like in your client and how that can impact you.
It's really forming us to be collegial as student attorneys. We divide the work so that we do things that we're confident on, but we're also learning from each other at the same time and working collaboratively to kind of set deadlines, meetings, and really learn you got to be available when other people need you, not being kind of a professional island to yourself.
It's so ironic because I've said it for the last 2 years, I don't want to practice litigation. But with this experience, I threw myself in something that I'm technically not interested in, and I found myself really caring about the client and realizing this is more than just going to court, signing paperwork, and leaving. This is connecting with a whole entire family of people who care about this client.
I think when I joined or when I signed up for the Youth Justice Clinic, I had a different expectation of how it would be. But what I ended up learning and experiencing is just so much more valuable than what I ever thought that I can receive.
Helping a client, it actually feels pretty good because at least here we represent a lot of low income taxpayers, so a lot of them may not be able to afford a tax lawyer, but then we can be a step in and then we have the knowledge to help them.
Personally, it felt amazing to just help clients who would have gone without representation, without having gotten in contact with our clinic. It's crazy that someone could have to represent themselves against an entire government agency and having no legal background or tax background.